Bureau of Narcotics. Just a moment.
The old OSBI investigation at the Bureau of Narcotics was conducted under very severe time restrictions. They had to go in and do their investigation and wind it up very rapidly. As a result, there were several areas that were not covered, or issues that were raised that were not fully investigated.
Or something, I want you to go ahead and give me a call, okay? Okay, because we care about you. Okay? Goodbye. Thank you.
Of approximately 13%. The estimate income at this time, in the round numbers, it's 140 plus. That is correct. This is if you're dealing with a fiscal year, you're dealing with 12 months. So as to project that we might have problems, the second Monday, yes. Final dollar figure is, and after we go through the total budget process, we have a crisis in corrections. I think that you will recall the four.
Two parents of former students in the Little Axe School District filed the lawsuit. They claim a school policy allowing preschool religious sharing sessions violates the constitutional guarantee of separation of church and state. The district's former superintendent and Board of Education are defendants in the lawsuit. One of the plaintiff's 15-year-old son testified that some of his classmates accused him of devil worship because he refused to attend the sharing sessions. He said someone placed an upside-down cross on his school locker when his mother objected to the meetings. 3 other former students testified they were subjected to peer pressure to participate in the voluntary sessions.
I don't think these kids are atypical. I think they're kids just like anybody else's kids, and I think it shows that just exactly as we have asserted it every time, that kids are not adults. They don't have or really or know or understand the right of free choice as far as religion is concerned.
The main factor here, we feel, is the fact that the faculty or the teachers are not doing anything of this sort. Certainly we don't approve of kids calling each other that, those sort of names. The evidence showed that this came out after the plaintiffs had filed their lawsuit, and we think directly resulted from that more than they did from the fact that they just didn't attend the sharing sessions.
Judge Thompson will get a chance to watch some TV during tomorrow's testimony. The plaintiff's attorneys plan to introduce some news videotapes showing an actual sharing session. Scott Wallace, Action 4 at the federal courthouse.
Kerosene space heaters are hot items these days. Hot meaning popular due largely to price efficiency, and hot meaning dangerous due largely to misuse. With that in mind, retailers are taking extra time to give consumers some safety precautions.
The construction book comes with all the heaters we sell, whether it be electric or whether it be kerosene or whether it be natural gas. So more or less guides to go by if you're going to hook it up yourself. Some of them are vented, some of them are non-vented.
Retailers aren't the only ones with the safety tips.
Kerosene heaters are not designed for cooking or drying clothes. Keep heaters at least 3 feet away from walls, furnishings, and other combustibles. Before moving a heater, turn it off and let it cool. This is a safety message from your local fire department.
Still, all too often, firefighters are called to fires like this one. deadly fires related directly to space heaters. Without proper safety, the dollars saved can translate into lives lost, not just in fires. There's another major hazard with kerosene heaters.
They're not as safe, certainly, as an electric type, because the electric type does not consume oxygen in the air and produce carbon monoxide. In that way, kerosene heaters are just as potentially hazardous as any kind of natural gas open-face space heater.
A few final tips. Burn only kerosene and be sure to store it safely. Refill the heater only outdoors, and never sleep with the heater on. Most fire deaths occur at night. Dan Slocum, Action 4.
Officer Paul E. Dolan.
Well, I think there's a rededication to a lot of our younger people, that in yesteryears maybe they were motivated to look to other areas of work and other interests, but I think today that we're getting more back to the law and order society that you and I probably know about.
Oklahoma City store owners have put up the welcome mat for rodeo fans, and it appears the fans have answered their call. Parking lots were full today of cars bearing out-of-state license plates. They came from places like New Mexico and Michigan to Oklahoma City, and not only to see the rodeo. They also came to shop those stores that can't be found anywhere but in the state of Oklahoma. Like the Western wear shops. What could be more impressive than a brand new pair of cowboy boots at the National Finals Rodeo? And a brand new cowboy hat, styled especially for you. The fans aren't the only ones that enjoy the out-of-town shopping sprees. Some of the rodeo personnel and contenders could also be found adding to their wardrobes today. When it comes to sales, the National Finals Rodeo is like a Christmas before Christmas.
Well, I don't think there's a segment of the economy that's not touched by what the National Finals does. Motels, restaurants, Western stores, obviously, shopping malls, car dealers, tire dealers, just every element of our economy is touched by the National Finals. I don't think that there's anybody that's smart enough or a computer that's big enough to hold the information that could really tell us what an economic boon the National Finals is to Oklahoma City.
If today is any indication of the sales to come this week, Oklahoma City store owners will be taking their hats off to the National Finals Rodeo. Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
The trial's third day of testimony was taken up with a horror story told by a school parent. Carly McGuire described how she had objected to the preschool sharing sessions, but refused to join in the lawsuit against them because she was afraid. Nevertheless, Mrs. McGuire said she received 50 to 75 crank phone calls, including a bomb scare and a threat to burn down her house. One of the plaintiff's houses mysteriously burned to the ground last fall. Two expert witnesses testified at length about the practice of mixing religion and education. Judge Ralph Thompson admonished both attorneys to spend more time giving evidence on the issues the judge can rule on. Judge Thompson has said the only thing he must decide is whether activities at the Little Axe School are legal under U.S. Supreme Court rulings.
It has been a long 9 months for the family of Tammy Carter, but today was like the beginning of the end of bringing to trial men prosecutors allege killed the Moore girl. Bobby Joe Standridge is the third man charged in the killing. Today, prosecutors began trying to prove there is enough evidence to bring him to a jury trial. The first witness to link Standridge to the killing came at late morning. Doug Beck testified he heard Standridge plotting to rob a laundromat. Tammy Carter was kidnapped from Sharp's Cleaner, where she worked last March. Her body was found the next day. But the most damaging testimony came from Dr. Thomas Glass, a specialist in teeth imprints. He says there are strong similarities between bite marks found on the girl's body and the imprint of Standridge's teeth. But under cross-examination, Glass admitted the similarities were not conclusive.
Are you testifying under oath here today, doctor, that those bite marks were made by Bobby Standridge?
I cannot rule him out as a suspect, is what I am testifying.
Okay, but can you state categorically that Bobby Standridge made those bite marks?
That would be inappropriate.
What?
That would be inappropriate.
Can I consider that a no?
That would be a no.
The prosecution closed their case late this afternoon. The defense will call their witnesses tomorrow. After that, it's up to Judge Gary Purcell to decide if there is enough evidence to warrant further proceedings. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4 at the Cleveland County Courthouse.
Secretary Diane Herron.
Shortly before 3 this morning, Metaflight lifted off to quickly rush the seriously injured policeman to the hospital. The Spencer police officer, whose name has not yet been released, was shot down at 36th and Spencer Road after stopping a motorist.
He made a warrant check, and that's the last we heard from him until Nakoma Park officers arrived on the scene and found him shot.
That's where he put the van.
Hannah says the suspect left the scene after the shooting. The officer was fatally shot in the head, possibly by his own weapon. Policemen from 7 communities searched the area for evidence. They have no description of the suspect vehicle or suspect, but are continuing their search. Debbie Mash, Action 4 in Spencer.
I guess the thing that hits me the most is the desperation across the country. You know, we're losing thousands of farmers, and I think for all practical purposes, we've probably already lost our independent family farm system in this country. I think there's a chance of getting it back, and you know, I guess that's why I believe that if there was ever a time that this country needed the American farmer to get off of his back and on his knees and then stand up on his feet, I think that time is now. And you know, I tell them it doesn't take violence, it doesn't take bloodshed, it just takes people to quit taking our country for granted and get involved. And I don't think there's a problem facing us that we can't solve if we will get involved and do our part. And I think one of the hardest things facing agriculture if we're going to survive is
We've had people here from all over the United States, actually all over the world. We've had people from Canada, from Venezuela, Mexico, Paris, and other countries that come here. But
Millions of people use the mails to send Christmas packages to their loved ones, and many people wait until the last minute to send their presents. But one thing's for sure, the line at the post office will get worse before the week is over. This is the Postal Service's busiest week of the year. And next week, customers will be really pushing it if they expect their packages to reach their destinations on time. It's already too late for overseas destinations. Luckily, the Postal Service has special electronic equipment this year that makes mailing easier. We've all heard about the sluggish economy, and postal officials in Oklahoma City will admit the package volume is down a little from last year.
I believe the parcel post may be down slightly just from personal observation, but our letter cancellations are up compared to the same period last year.
The scene at the city's main post office was calm compared to the one at the United Postal Service. Since the UPS specializes in package delivery, many people prefer the UPS mode of service. Here, business has been down slightly overall, but for the Christmas season, it's up over last year. The word from the UPS is the same. This is the week to get your Christmas packages out. For those people who came in today, their package is already on its way to its destination. After all, Santa should never be late. Bella Shaw, Action 4.
Thank you very much.
Three board resignations, and you can forget it. You wouldn't have to campaign for the kids. You wouldn't have to do a thing. You could add the bond issue to it, and you could get it passed too. It's our money, folks, and we're going to spend it in the end the way we want to spend it.
And I feel the only solution to bring this system out of conflict onto a road of recovery. That solution is that Mr. Ross withdraw his appeal, and in turn, I will resign from this board.
Well, I think it's getting to the point where we should be getting concerned. We're at capacity. We have 533 beds, and we're at that point right now. So if we had a concerted drive of some type of a law enforcement agent in this county, like a DUI drive or a drug raid or something like this, we wouldn't be able to cope with it.
The state is trying to show that Palmer and Patsy Lockhart are responsible for their son's death. The defense is trying to prove that the Lockharts were merely exercising their constitutional guarantee of freedom of religion, and the defense called 7 witnesses to the stand today to help bolster their case. Palmer Lockhart tearfully testified that he had depended on faith and prayer all his life. He said his son Jason had never received medicine or medical treatment. Mr. Lockhart did not seek medical treatment for Jason last June when the 9-year-old developed a bad stomach ache. The defendant said he thought his son had food poisoning. Jason Lockhart died from a ruptured appendix June 16th. Defense attorney Harold Singer called several elders from the Church of the Firstborn to the stand. They all testified that the Lockharts had followed the church's guidelines in regards to Jason's illness. Following the completion of defense testimony, Judge James Bryant instructed the jury on the law in this case. He told the jurors the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt the Lockharts failed to provide their son the necessary medical care to keep him alive. However, Judge Bryant also said that state law allows parents to rely in good faith upon spiritual means or prayer for their child's treatment. The jury must decide whether Palmer and Patsy Lockhart are indeed guilty of first-degree manslaughter. If convicted of that crime, they could spend between 4 years and life in prison. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Enid.
Will just increase in you. And you may find that your negative feelings are compounded, and you need to support each other. So it's kind of nice to have a support group. Just right now, think in your own mind, what's one of the most common that you immediately would go to? So if you're feeling really uptight, really take a job again, and hey, maybe 10 years from now, you'll be looking for
to keep reminding yourself that you're a lovable person and that you have good qualities and that you have skills that are marketable. And that, you know, even though things are bad right now, they're going to get better.
Now's the season that many people like to take short vacations, a trip to the ski slopes or to relatives for Christmas. And very soon, people wanting to use the airlines to make those trips will be able to pick up their tickets almost anywhere. The Civil Aeronautics Board yesterday voted to end the monopoly of travel agents over the sale of airline tickets. But according to one travel agent, the move won't hurt the industry too bad.
Because there are so many travel agencies in major shopping areas anyway. You can drive up and down May Avenue, and every shopping center just about has a travel agency.
Then would it be fair to say you're not worried about more competition in the industry?
I wouldn't say I'm not worried, but I am concerned about it.
According to Pingleton, the travel agency business is not a high-profit operation.
I'm going to give this back to you.
They receive 10% of the base off airline tickets, in addition to fees for car rentals and other services associated with vacationing. But this year has been decent dollar-wise for most agencies, and they want to make sure that all other ticket operations, whether it be in department stores or local convenience stores, have to adhere to the same regulations as the agencies before they get a piece of the pie. Kevin Ogle, Action 4.
You can tell the rush is on as soon as you pull into the parking lot because there's no place to park. Inside, it's the same story. There's no place to stand. These last-minute shoppers have to keep moving with the flow or get run over. It's literally wall-to-wall people. The procrastinators are writing up some big last-minute bills. Many are having to take what they can get at the prices that are offered because the best buys have already been bought. But that's to be expected. The week before Christmas is traditionally a bad time to shop, but it's also traditionally a busy time.
This is the first time that I've worked after. Usually, most of the time, it's always before. But it's quite an experience to get it done, you know, moving all this stuff out of here and stuff like that. And so it's really a whole lot of work in here to do.
I love coming over here working and, you know, knowing that it wasn't just a donation, that we could work and help, you know, because of the Christmas store and the that they just give it to us and we wasn't part of it.
So you're looking forward to Christmas Day?
Yes, ma'am. And so is my children.
Move it and kind of, you know, neutralize it. Turkey. I found fish out here that like a little gamboo, a little top water minute. I thought, man, I couldn't believe it. But he was right up in the weeds where they're growing, where there's more
I don't think the general condition of the economy is causing us to approach check cashing in any different light than we have before. I think we've always wanted to be cautious about it.
We have always been known on an international scale to be a nation of workers. So we're talking about paying people for not working. And that's never been the American way. I'm sorry, but it's just never been the American way.
An Oklahoma City viewer writes in and says, my wife and I are planning to buy a piece of land that just has a warranty deed. How can we obtain a certified title? Well, a warranty deed is as good a title as you can obtain on a piece of property. The seller warrants that the title is marketable and agrees to defend the title on your behalf against anyone who might claim an interest in the property contrary to yours. You may want to go ahead and purchase title insurance on the land, which can be obtained from most abstract and title companies. This ensures your investment in the property against any defects that could not be discovered by a search of the title documents regarding the property. Title insurance requires only a one-time payment of the premium, and it insures you to the extent of the purchase price for as long as you own an interest in the property. For Action 4, this is Ray Vaughn with Legal Briefs. An Oklahoma City viewer writes in and says, when a couple has neither parents nor children, and they have all of their property in joint ownership, is it necessary to have a will? Well, it probably would not be necessary to have a will just to transfer all the property to the survivor following the death of the first spouse. However, upon the death of the survivor or the common death of both parties, where is the property to go then? Oklahoma law says that in this case, without a will, everything would be divided among the survivor's brothers and sisters, or nieces and nephews, where a brother or sister is deceased. If you have no surviving family at all, the property goes to the state of Oklahoma to be used for education. In my opinion, it would be a good idea to leave a will distributing the property according to your desires. For Action 4, this is Ray Vaughn with Legal Briefs. A viewer writes in and asks, what is the penalty for opening another person's mail? There have been 2 occasions this year when I have ordered something, the packages have been delivered to the wrong address, and they've been opened by mistake. Well, under federal law, it is a felony to open another's mail with the intent to obstruct the correspondence, or to pry into the business or secrets of another. However, if it was misdelivered and opened by mistake, then there is no violation of the law. If the packages had been kept after opening, then it is possible that the opener would have been guilty of obstructing correspondence, in which case the penalty is a $2,000 fine or 5 years in prison or both. For Action 4, this is Ray Vaughn with Legal Briefs.